Valeu.
Vamos lá, hein? Bora aqui morando. Vamos papai.
Hola, bon dia. Today I'm in Ipanema market and I'm actually heading towards Parque Catacumba, but I'm just walking through the market at the moment and you can see all the lovely fresh produce. They've got everything here. They've got fish, fruit, flowers. They've got some breads at the entrance to the park, and there's a nice park behind me as well. Look at the array of fish on sale here. Eggs, fruits that you wouldn't see where I come from. And I'm wearing a serviette over my face because it's 34 degrees at the moment. Fresh coconut juice behind me here as well. I'll just show you inside the park in the centre of Ipanema, which is around a 5-minute walk from the beachfront. Looks like a place popular for dog walking, and there's nice palm trees here as well. So from here I'm going to continue walking straight up the direction that I was walking through the market towards Parque Catacumba, which is a free national park which should have some nice views over probably one of, if not the most famous lake in Rio de Janeiro. Just coming out onto Lagoa Rodrigo de Freitas, which is the name of the lake, and the scenery here is quite incredible really. As I come out of the urbanized area, you can see the Cristo Redentor, the Christ the Redeemer, on top of Mount Corcovado there. Stunning hills and scenery for a city on the ocean front in Brazil. And from here I have to walk along this main road to the right around the lake before I reach the national park, which I actually believe is just behind this hill here. There's some beautiful views on my left of the lake and Cristo Redentor himself, who I saw yesterday. Another perspective of the lake here. I believe, oh sorry, it's focused on my face. I believe this mountain here, let's come out of shot, is the Sugarloaf Mountain, and just to my right here is the Christ the Redeemer again. Beautiful skies here, not a chemtrail in sight, and I mean, look at this, look at the reflection on this lake. Somewhere along this main road is the entrance to the park, but I'm going to have to cross the main road at some point, I believe. Right, well that took a while, but it was still quicker than in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. I'm here now at the entrance. You can see the sign up above me. Natural Municipal Park of Catacumba. Open Tuesday to Sunday, 8 AM to 5 PM, and free entry. You can only use the trails until 4 PM. And it's nicely shaded here, so I can remove my gratis free cruise serviette that I've used to cover my face thus far. This park, I believe, in the early 1900s, used to be a hill where a favela was situated, and a favela is where lots of houses in Brazil are situated, so like basically a housing estate, I suppose. And in the 1970s, the favela was taken away, and this park was built because of the degradation of the area. They wanted to create it into a park that was housing art sculptures such as these. And I'm expecting to see more of these as I walk around the park. Here's another sculpture behind me, and I'm just looking at the map here, trails of the park. It goes to a viewpoint de Sacopa and a viewpoint do Urubu. I'm debating which one to go to. One's 360 meters in one direction, the other one's 360 meters in the other direction, but the latter is on the way back on the return trail. So basically the first one is out the way slightly. I haven't really researched which one is the better viewpoint. I presume Marante means... Oh, there's a bit of information here. In fact, I can just look at the picture. I can say I've done it. I can say I've already viewed the viewpoint. So that's what it looks like. It looks like basically a higher view of the Sugarloaf, which I've already seen. I'll just go to both of them and be done with it. As you can maybe see, the trail bends around this corner. It's quite a foresty trail, lots of insects. I can immediately see quite a few butterflies, sort of like really light yellow coloured butterflies. And a brown one. Oh, that was camouflaged. I missed it. I can hear some birds as well. So I wonder how much nature I'll see today, if I'll see as much, more or less than in the forests of French Guiana, Montabo. Here's the butterfly I was mentioning. So it's got black wings. I can't even see where my camera's. Up there. Wow, wow, wow. Beautiful, beautiful. A beautiful start to the day here in Catacumba Parque Natural. And I wouldn't say it's an easy walk, this one. I saw some kind of wasp looking thing which was like bright orange, so I carried on walking past it, but some of these, I mean, I've just got trainers and trackies on, but in a 30-degree heat, I mean, look, this goes up quite steep, especially if you're not holding on to anything. So I wouldn't say it's the easiest trail. However, it is easily done, but it's harder than what you'd usually expect. As I come up these steps behind me, it's sort of giving sort of vibes of Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones kind of feel to it. Now at the first sort of levelled off park area, and it's called Bamboo Square, as you can see by the bamboo trees surrounding me, and there's a slight viewpoint here, not much of a viewpoint. So many insects here. These must be cicadas, if you can hear the buzzing noise in the background. Now I now know that cicadas make that noise in order to attract mates. And I previously thought they were sort of drilling into the tree to try and extract something. As you can see in my French Guiana Montabo forest video, I think they are vibrating their wings to attract the mates, which is making that really strong sound. Now, according to the map at the entrance of the park, the Praça do Bambuazal is just before the crossroads, where you can either go left to the first viewpoint that I mentioned, I think it's called Socopa, I can't remember what it was called, or right to the other one. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to do both of them, and if anyone's interested, I'll compare the two, and if anyone doesn't want to go to both, then I'll give you my opinion on which one's better. So I'm now at the crossroads, like the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz, with his arms crossed. I can either go left or right, or I can go left and then right, which is what I'm going to do to this first viewpoint, Mirante do Sacopa. The route to this viewpoint is even further uphill, and while I'm walking here, I feel as though the composition of my shirt is no longer 100% cotton, and more 50 cotton, 50 water, with sweat. Okay, so I'm just approaching the viewpoint now. To be honest, I would just walk both of them. It only took about 5 minutes, if that. And you can see it opening behind me. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. And the cicada's chiming off at me as well. I don't know if you can hear in the background, welcoming me to this viewpoint. Now, the only thing about this viewpoint is Christ the Redeemer is almost unviewable unless you look through that gap in the tree just there. You can see Jesus Christ himself, the second of the Holy Trinity. However, this is the best view I've had so far of the Sugarloaf Mountain and the mountainous areas surrounding it, and the lake looks pretty spectacular as well. The colours here look amazing. I don't know if I just turned on my camera on when that screechy noise made in the background, but I haven't heard that kind of noise before. I'm wondering if it's some kind of tropical bird. Just walk around this corner. Oh, you must have heard that one. You must have heard that. Oh yes, oh yes. That's it, that's it, that's it. Oh, it's just flown off, just flown off. I don't know what that was. I don't know if I caught it on camera, it was right through these trees here. I can see... There, can you see that black creature in the middle of the screen? I don't think that was the one making the noise, but he was sat right next to him. The one that flew away was a more lighter brown colour, so I don't know if they're the same species. It looks almost vulture-like. Really, really black feathers and a really, really black neck. The legs, bright yellow. And the beak, really dark black as well. He may just be about to fly off now. It looks as though his wings are half prepared, half cocked back. I think he just stared down the barrel of my camera then. It looks like he's going to take a perch again and not fly away. Look at that. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? He's going to go. He's gone. I got it. I eventually got the shot I've been waiting for. He's flown off into, well, over the lake somewhere. That was a good find. On the one hand, I want to give a rating out of 10 for that viewpoint, the Saroka viewpoint. But on the other hand, I don't want to give it a rating out of 10 until I've compared it with the other one. However, on first thoughts, I'm going to give it an 8 or a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 actually. I'm talking a point because the Christ the Redeemer wasn't viewable from there, at least clearly. However, I'm going to give it a 9, not an 8, because the thing that was blocking the Christ the Redeemer was Mother Nature, so you can't complain about that. I was also welcomed by the cicadas. There were lots of butterflies around there, and the vulture that you saw just coming down from it, which means it was worthwhile me turning left at those crossroads. I now am exactly 15 meters away from the viewpoint Urubu. Lots of insects flying around here, but here, just 15 meters away, you can see Cristo Redentor, and I presume I'm going to get an even better view in 10 meters time. It's quite busy up here. You can see here there's a little platform, the viewpoint, and some stairs going down the side as well, just here. I'm just walking down from the top platform down to the sort of extension platform, which is just here behind me, hanging over sort of the cliff edge. It's quite a steep drop. If this bridge were to break, I'd probably break at least all my bones, if not die. So you can see how high it is. I want to say this is 81 meters above sea level, with sea level just being where my finger is, or lake level. And this is the view. You get a beautiful view of Christ the Redeemer. You can see all the vultures flying around as well. Maybe one of them up there is one of the vultures that I saw in the national park when I was walking through. You can also see Pau de Açúcar just behind my finger here, the Sugarloaf Mountain, obviously famous in Rio itself. And you get a view of the majority of the lake as well. There's 10 people allowed in this viewpoint, there's 6 people allowed in the other one, officially, maximum. There's no one here counting. But I would give this also, I got welcomed by cicadas as well. I'd probably give this a 9 as well. It offers something different. I would say at the other one, there's shaded areas where you can sit down sort of nearby and maybe have like a drink or a bite to eat. And it's a bit quieter there. This place, I'd probably say, has the better views, but there's not really anywhere to sit down and have something to eat near the viewpoint. It's more sort of bushy in this area. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a 360-degree panoramic view from this viewpoint. I'm not sure what those sort of pillars are in the middle of that mountain. That's quite interesting, but that's the furthest right you can see on this deck, and then you come to this beautiful mound with lots and lots of vultures flying above it. Come around to the left, the start of the lake, with the Cristo Redentor on the top of the mountain. And further around the lake, all the way to the Sugarloaf Mountain on the left there. And I'm now heading back on the return route to the place where I came into the park, and the return route is 397 metres. If you saw me run the 400 metres in the British Virgin Islands, then you'll know that you should be prepared to wait a long time. There's some stones sticking out, some quite steep drops. Again, the casual walker could do it, but I wouldn't say it's beginner. This is probably the loudest area for cicadas coming down the trail. I've actually decided to stop here, around 200 metres away from the exit of the park, the exit and the entrance, to have something to eat. And I've got a banana I've got a tapioca bread, powder quajo, a cheese bread, and I've got 2 boiled eggs, which did have a soft yolk, but after walking around in 34-degree heat, they're probably overcooked now. And there's an art sculpture here. Oh my! That one scared me. Cicada right in front of me somewhere. I'm at a Complemento Square. I just tripped over a rock. I'm at a Complemento Square, and this is a piece of artwork here. Lots of cicadas here, and this art piece was created in 1979 by Mario Cravel. Just to the left, I believe, is a fruit tree indigenous to the area, the urucum, the fruit of the achiote, which is a native tree in tropical America that reaches up to 6 meters in height, traditionally used by Brazilian Indians in body painting, and also used as a condiment known as anato. And I actually was sat over there on that bench, but there's a sort of nice table here. I haven't got anybody to play chess with, unless some kind of creature comes down, and there's a nice tree here, and I can view the nature behind me here as well from a better angle. Coming up to 20 to 2 in the afternoon, and the yolk was actually still a bit undercooked. I think those eggs were the 2 eggs that was sort of half not submerged when I was cooking them at the same time as my rice last night. So it was actually a bit raw in the middle, so we'll see if anything happens on the back of that. And I'm now going to walk to a park with a palace, which is around an hour walk away. And hopefully there's some kind of shop on the way where I can buy some water, as I've only got about 100 milliliters left on me. This is Homem Sentado, made by Mario Agostinelli. Another sculpture in this art-filled park, and that sculpture was made in 1979. There's a sign here saying there's boa constrictors here. It's a non-venomous snake, apparently, and I haven't seen it, but I'll keep my eye out. And this looks quite tropical. Sonia Ebling created this sculpture, and the name of the sculpture is called Sophia, and it's probably the last sculpture I'm going to see before I leave the park. Sophia wasn't the last sculpture. This is the last sculpture of a man fighting with a lion. And unfortunately, I think I've got to walk near the main road, which is really quite loud. Once I get there, I'll essentially be at the opposite end of the lake to where I arrived this morning, and I think I may as well just finish the day off by walking around the other side of it back, which will take around an hour and a half. Now, what's slightly irritating about this path here is these 2 lanes are actually for cyclists. So I've got to watch my 6 and watch my 12. The only walking path, officially, I think is sort of this area here, or the middle of that main road over there, which is a bit of a shame. You can see the top end of the lake just up there, around 5-10 minutes away. I'm now coming around. There's an undercover police car there. Looks like a white Lexus. I'm now come around to the opposite end of the lake. I'm just turning the final corner. But this is probably the first place. You can actually see the front face of Jesus Christ the Redeemer up here, right at this top end of the lake. And this is the corner that wraps around the front of it. So if I walk around here, I should be able to show you where I started today, on the opposite side. Yeah, so it's just over there in the background. Right over there in the far distance, this area here actually sticks out into the lake. So it's actually double the distance to this peak here on the other side. This is the forest that I just walked through, and this peak here was the second peak that I arrived at, with the viewpoints that you saw, the viewpoint Uruba. Right, so I'm nearly at the Palace Gardens now. I had a little stopover in a shop where I thought I was paying $2.49 raise for 1.5 litres of water. I got charged $2.79 at checkout. I couldn't tell which one was which on the labels. There were about 4 different types. However, the extra probably 3 pence that I paid, maybe 6p or something like that, I'm not too concerned, because I figured out that with a Chase UK debit card, it kept getting rejected in all these shops. And I finally realised in this shop, because of somebody who came to help the cashier, who couldn't check out my water, well, the Chase UK debit card is a credit card. Now, I always ask whether you're paying with debit or credit. And of course, I say debit every time with the debit card from Chase. Recognised as a credit card, and it went through straight away. So hopefully from this point onwards, that issue should be sorted. I've now entered Parque Lage, which is actually part of the Tijuca National Park. I'm not sure how they pronounce it here. And you can see some beautiful big wild jackfruits here in this forest on this tree to my left as you come in the entrance. I'm going to be looking around, hopefully a palace here, and then just walking around some of the nature woods in this area. So I'm at the palace now, and it's very hot here, but it's actually really nice here. I think you have to pay to go in. I was just watching those two people walking in there, and they didn't seem to stop them from walking in. Maybe you have to pay to go to the top floor. I'm going to try and walk in a minute, but I've just noticed behind me here, there, is the Christ the Redeemer. And I think you can see it from the inside as well. I'm going to go and have a look. Apparently there's a lake behind the palace and some small caves as well. So let's see if I have to pay to enter Palace. No way, there's someone in the palace with 7 Palacios on the back of his shirt. You couldn't make it up. Right, so there's a queue here. They might just be waiting to queue for a photo opportunity. There doesn't seem to be any ticket controls. This looks like a nice empty palace room. Beautiful ceilings. Wonder if there's an entrance somewhere around the side here. No. I did notice to the right of the queue as I came in there was a sign saying exit. So potentially I could walk around the exit to see what's on the inside and then maybe come back round again. I think they are all queuing up for the photo opportunity. Alright, so it just takes you out to the right hand side of the palace. I'm going to go back in and see if I can get a picture just to the right of the area where people were getting pictures, since I think the queue was for the people who want to stand by the pool in the middle. Got the pictures, I look a bit like a shadow figure in them, at least in the second two. In the selfie I don't, but this is what the inside of the palace looks like. There's a restaurant on the back, and to go upstairs you do have to pay. I think it's 10 reais, which is about 1.30. But from inside here you can get a good view of the Christ the Redeemer anyway. And there's some nice carvings on the walls as well. This is the palace just here, through those trees here. I'm now directly behind the main entrance to the palace, and if my map is correct, there should be a lake around sort of 3 minutes straight, but it does look like quite an incline, so maybe a bit longer. It's not very well signed up, but there's some stairs there, again, slightly Lara Croft style. I'm just going to take a punt and hope that the lake is this way, but I don't think it lends itself to easy public viewing. But I was going the right way. So the lake, it's not the biggest lake you'll ever see. There's a nice little waterfall here as well. This lake, it's kind of a bit shabby chic, it's a bit abandoned really. I think they could do a little bit more to touch this up and actually direct people towards it. Seems like there's some koi fish swimming around as well, if I've named the species correctly. But it's actually quite a calming place. There's not many people here, which I suppose is good. And now I'm going to head towards, hopefully, the cave. Oh. Really quite dark in here. Let's go in this little cave and hope there's nothing hiding in here. So I'm now inside the cave, and there's lots of small entrances around this place. There doesn't seem to be any sort of carvings inside or anything, just sort of natural rock formations really, and lots of moss on the outside. I've noticed I actually entered on the upper level because I came from the side where the lake was, which was slightly elevated compared to the main walking path, which is here. So people have actually entered the cave over here, and you can see there's stalactites there, and I believe there's some stalagmites as well. Oh, it's very wet here. This place is all water. Get the rays of sunlight coming through into some areas of here. For example, here. It's another nice artifact here, a sort of, I want to say castle, but it's sort of what you would usually see on the corner of a castle, the sort of rounded corner, but it just seems to be that up there. And I'm going to cross this little bridge with a little stream under it. It's not flowing enough to play poo sticks. Right, so I've decided to sit down and have lunch, except this time I'm sitting with someone. So there was no space anywhere else, but he doesn't talk too much, so he shouldn't blabber on and interrupt my eating. You're not going to talk, are you? No, see, I told you. I've got this lovely view in front of me with the fountain as well. And I've got a orange and another banana. I've just had another near miss. Now, this is the second near miss. The other near miss that I've had was on the cruise when a cork top flew out of a bottle. Absolutely popped out, could have taken someone's eye out. This time, I think it's a sort of mini mango type fruit, fell from this tree and landed. There were two people sat on that bench at the time. It landed 2 meters away from both of us. I just got approached by that woman on the right of those three, who I believe is a local tour guide for those two elderly people. Now, interestingly, she was, I sort of used her as a conduit to get through that exit sign when I entered the palace to get a picture, as I presume she was like a local guide, and she was doing similar to me. Now, when I was in there and I took my picture, she realised my position for the picture was actually better than hers, so she moved over and took my position, i.e. copied it. And she just walked past me there. She spoke to me in Portuguese. I said, Portuguese, and no. And then she basically said, are there any caves here? Now, as you know, I've just been to the cave. So if she is a local tour guide, my tips would be going elsewhere, because she's now basically followed my instructions, i.e. copied me for the second time and is going to the caves. And I had to give her information about whether she could go in there with the elderly people, is there water around there, give her the directions. So I might wait at the exit for those two elderly people to give me their tips, or for the woman to give me the tips that the elderly people gave her. And it seems like there's another cave in front of me here. I don't know what it is, but this one looks more man-made. I see. It's more of a aquarium. Did you find the cave?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. So I've now left the Catacumba National Park, Parque, and I'm going on a 1 hour, 20-minute-ish walk back. I'm going to try and find my way back towards the lake from the main road, just so it's a bit nicer to walk back. I finally crossed the road lakeside, BDO. It took around 10 minutes again. And the view is slightly obstructed because of this bush on this end, but it's still much nicer on this side. My hands were already sticky earlier after I had my orange, so I didn't end up having my banana because I needed to wash my hands first, really. I'm going to have my banana here with this nice view behind me, and just to my right there's a sort of, I think it's called Naval Dockyard, but there's some tennis courts in there as well. But yeah, nice and quiet and shaded here. The lake has opened up a bit now, and I can see some wildlife. 3 little birds. Every little thing is gonna be alright. And I have got to walk over there somewhere. It's about an hour away. Oh, there's 4 now. And behind me is the lake. I've completed a full lap of Lago Rodrigo de Freitas, and that's pretty much where I'm going to wrap things up for today in Rio de Janeiro. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was insightful. Bonus footage. I'm at Ipanema Beach, the famous Ipanema Beach, and I half came here for the sunset, but it suddenly turned cloudy. Nevertheless, there's still some quite good views, and some big waves as well. I don't see anybody swimming here in the whole beach of Ipanema. Potentially the current is quite strong. Nearly got sort of dragged back in there when the waves came up to my legs. But for today, that's it. Boa noite from Rio de Janeiro. Woo.